It's a Christmas night, and Santa Claus stays on the ground for too long and becomes involved in a robbery. Once he sees a little girl in danger, his dark side turns him into a killing machine, and he goes on a rampage to kill all the bad guys and save everyone else. The movie opens in Bristol, UK, where Santa Claus is sitting at a bar drinking. Once he finishes his drink, he asks for another one. Just then, another man dressed up as Santa Claus shows up at the bar and asks him if he just got off from work. Santa tells him that he is taking a break between his shifts. But he replies and tells her that the reindeer know the way, and he just sits in the back. The man and the bartender begin laughing because they assume Santa is just joking. He then tells the two of them that he might quit being Santa Claus because the children have gotten selfish and materialistic. Then Santa gets up and leaves through the door that leads to the roof. Before he leaves, he hands the bartender a gift for her grandson, leaving her confused. She wonders how Santa knew her grandson's name. The bartender chases after him to tell him that he is taking the wrong exit. But when she reaches the roof, she finds that Santa is no longer there. When she looks up, she notices that Santa has left on his sled. She looks up in surprise when suddenly Santa throws up on her. The scene then changes to Greenwich, Connecticut, where Jason Lightstone waits for his estranged wife, Linda, to pick him up. When Linda arrives to pick him up, he greets her and their daughter, Trudy. Jason thanks Linda for making the trip to his mother's estate with him. The three of them then arrive at his mother's house and are greeted by the gatekeeper, who lets them inside. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, everyone is busy preparing for Christmas. Later that night, Jason, Linda, and Trudy make their way to the living room, where they are greeted by Jason's sister, Alva, her son Brett, and her boyfriend. When they hear their mother approaching, Alva rushes to the entrance with her family to greet her. When she notices that Jason is not joining her, she asks him what his plan is. Her boyfriend claims that Jason is up to something, and they join Jason and Linda at the back of the room. Once dinner is over, everyone heads to their rooms. Jason and Linda tuck Trudy in bed, and she tells them that Jason forgot to take her to the mall to visit Santa, which is why she was not able to tell him her wish. Feeling guilty, Jason tells Trudy that he is getting her an early Christmas present. He gives her a walkie-talkie and tells her that she can communicate with Santa through this and tell him about her wish. Linda and Jason then leave the room and overhear Trudy telling Santa that she only wants her parents to get back together as a present for Christmas. Meanwhile, Santa visits different houses and drops off gifts for them. He continues drinking and gets drunk. When he arrives at the Lightstone estate, he finds the cookies that Trudy had left for him. He then takes a bottle of alcohol and sits in a massage chair to relax. At the same time, one of the bodyguards enters the security room and knocks out the guard on duty. He then alerts his accomplices that their plan has started. Outside, Mr. Scrooge arrives at the estate. He is greeted by the gatekeeper. He tells him that he punctured his tire and needs help replacing it. When the gatekeeper turns around, Mr. Scrooge shoots him in the head. Mr. Scrooge's mercenaries begin killing all the guards and the staff at the estate. Jason's mother is taken to a panic room by her bodyguard. But when they enter the room, Mr. Scrooge walks in as well and kills her guards. He then takes Bert, Alva, her boyfriend, and her mother hostage. During this time, Linda gets into an argument with Jason and tells him that he neglects their daughter. She tells him that his mother always tries to get in between them. Jason tries to calm her down and tell her that he wants to fix everything with her and that he'd be willing to walk away from the Lightstone wealth and company. Suddenly, they hear gunfire outside. At the same time, Santa hears the gunfire as well and tries to escape from the room. He tries tapping his nose to teleport through the chimney to the roof, but his power does not work because he is drunk. As the Lightstone family is gathered in the living room, Santa is discovered by a mercenary. The two of them get into a fight, but Santa manages to throw him out of the window. In the living room, Jason's mother tells Mr. Scrooge that she has a secret extraction team that is on their way. He tells her that he knows when the extraction team will arrive and that she has $30 million stored in her vault. She then tells Mr. Scrooge that he will not be able to steal the money since no one can break into the vault. He tells her that he knows about the button she has to press that will cause the locks to change automatically. He grabs the remote from her and gets his team of mercenaries to try to hack into the vault. One of his mercenaries reaches out to him and informs him about their dead accomplice. He tells all of them to search around the house for anyone who might have managed to get away. Meanwhile, Santa enters the house using the back door. He tries calling the police, but the mercenaries cut off all the phone lines. Suddenly, he hears footsteps outside and hides behind a pillar. He begins looking through his sack for something that might help him in defending himself. When a mercenary walks into the room, he carefully looks around, while Santa manages to find a doll in his sack, and he sneaks up on the mercenary and hits him in the back of the head. The gun falls from the mercenary's hands, but he pulls out a knife. Santa then takes out a hockey stick from his sack and hits the mercenary again. However, this time he gets overpowered. The two of them fight until Santa finally manages to kill him. Back in the living room, Linda makes Trudy lie down. She takes out her walkie-talkie and begins talking to Santa. During this time, Santa finds the mercenary's walkie-talkie and hears Trudy calling out for him. He talks to her and asks her where she is. She tells him that she is in the living room surrounded by men with guns. Santa reassures Trudy that he is going to help her. He walks to the gatekeeper's hut and finds that the phones are still not working. He then hears Mr. Scrooge calling out for the mercenary. Santa answers and tells him that the mercenary is dead. He warns Mr. Scrooge to leave the family alone, or he will come after them. Frustrated, Mr. Scrooge goes to the living room and asks Jason's mother who she has hired as Santa Claus. She tells him that no one hired a Santa Claus, but he does not believe her. He takes a nutcracker and breaks Jason's finger with it. He threatens to torture Jason if no one answers him. Seeing her father in danger, Trudy tells Mr. Scrooge to let her father go, or Santa will punish him. Linda tells Mr. Scrooge that Trudy is only playing pretend, but Trudy insists that she's been talking to the real Santa. Feeling scared for his daughter, Jason tells her that Santa Claus does not exist. Hearing this, Trudy runs out of the room and hides in the attic. Meanwhile, Santa notices that he is bleeding and stitches himself up. However, due to the excessive bleeding, he passes out and has a vision of himself as a warrior. He is then woken up by Trudy's voice over the walkie-talkie. She asks him if he is the real Santa, and he tells her that he is. But Santa's powers are limited, and he cannot grant her wish of getting her parents back together again. Back in the living room, one of the mercenaries asks the family to open Christmas presents. When it comes to Jason, he tries to pretend he forgot the present, but Bert grabs it from under the tree and gives it to his grandmother. When Jason's mother opens the present, she finds a note and immediately becomes unhappy after reading it. But she does not tell anyone what the letter contained. Just then, Trudy asks Santa about his past, and he tells her that he was a warrior in his past life. He tells her that he used to kill people with his special hammer because he enjoyed it, and was probably on the top of the naughty list. Trudy tells him that he is doing good things now, and she believes that he is not a bad person. Santa tells Trudy to stay hidden while he gets rid of all the mercenaries. At the same time, Mr. Scrooge informs his accomplices that the extraction team is on its way. Elsewhere, Santa sneaks up on a mercenary, but accidentally sets off a toy, altering her. He hides in a room, but Mr. Scrooge blows down the door and ties Santa up. They find his sack and notice that it looks empty, but gifts keep coming out of it. Mr. Scrooge throws the sack into the fireplace, burning it. Mr. Scrooge does not believe that he is Santa Claus. When he was 10, he had snuck into his neighbor's house to steal their gifts one Christmas. When he scared their grandpa, who died because he fell off the stairs from the shock. Santa tells Mr. Scrooge that he does not get involved in people's lives and only delivers presents, which is why he did not help him that day. Then Trudy dumps styrofoam balls into the vent, and the mercenaries get distracted. This gives Santa the chance to tap his nose and teleport to the roof. Just then, Santa notices that the extraction team has arrived. He checks his list and finds that their names are on the naughty list. He realizes that the extraction team is on Mr. Scrooge's side, just as they start shooting at him. He manages to escape and hide in a warehouse. He is just about to give up when Trudy tells him that he will find his Christmas miracle as well. Then Santa notices his hammer hidden away. He attacks the extraction team and kills most of them. Inside, Mr. Scrooge opens the vault and finds that there is no money inside. He angrily confronts the Lightstones and demands to know where the money is. Jason confesses that he stole the money because he wanted to escape from his mother with his family. Back in the attic, Trudy informs Santa that the mercenaries have found her. She had set up traps for them, inspired by the movie Home Alone, and managed to take both of them down. In the living room, Linda, Bert, and Alva take down another mercenary when Santa and Trudy walk in. They go outside to save Jason, who has been taken outside by the extraction team to find the money. Another fight breaks out, and Linda, with Santa's help, manages to take down most of the extraction team. Santa then chases after Mr. Scrooge. The two of them fight until Santa teleports himself and Mr. Scrooge to the top of a chimney, which kills Mr. Scrooge. Severely injured, Santa dies as well. When Trudy notices him, she tells everyone to acknowledge that Santa exists, which will bring him back to life. Everyone acknowledges that Santa Claus is real, and Santa wakes up. The movie ends with Santa's reindeer arriving with a new sack as a gift from his wife on the sled.